Welcome to the VidConcierge Show, the podcast that helps health professionals master their delivery, speak with clarity, and show up on camera like the trusted expert they are. In each episode, you'll learn practical techniques and expert insights to elevate how you communicate on video so your message lands, your presence connects, and more people see you as the trusted authority in your field. Let's get started. Hi, and welcome back. Dr. Walter Salubro here. Welcome to the VidConcierge Show. I'm super excited about this episode. Now, when most health professionals prepare for a video, they focus almost entirely on the content, what they're going to say in the video. They're concerned about what they're going to say, how they're going to explain it, maybe even how long they need to film the video, so how long the video will run. What often gets overlooked is how you visually show up on camera in your video, even before you speak. We're talking about first impressions today. Now, from the viewer's perspective, the first impression happens within seconds based on what they see. That impression comes down to three things. We're going to break this down in today's episode. Number one, lighting. Number two, framing, your positioning on camera, and your facial expression. So lighting is important because it makes sure that you appear clear and easy to see. And framing determines how composed you are in the video and how professional you look and turn out to be. And your facial expression communicates that warmth and confidence and authority, and also gives that level of passion, energy projected through your facial expression. So together, these three set the stage and determine how your message is received with trust and attention. Now, in this episode, we're going to break down each of these three areas and show you exactly what to do so you look clear, composed, and credible on video, even if you're just filming from your office or home. Let's talk about the first one, lighting. Now, lighting is very important. Now, if you're first starting off with video creation, you may not put a lot of emphasis on lighting because you just want to get started. That's what I did at the beginning. But lighting is crucial. I have a friend, his name is Dan. He's a professional photographer and videographer. He's done multitude of projects and video shoots for models and clothing catalogs. And he always tells me, he always comments on my videos, especially the early ones, how important the lighting is. So lighting is the very first thing that shapes the viewer's impression of your video. You can have the best message in the world, but if your face is in a shadow or the background is brighter than you, then you instantly look less professional. Does that make sense? Now, the good news is great lighting does not have to be complicated or expensive. And one of the easiest and simplest things you can do that I've done many, many times, and I recommended many times, is use natural light. In my office, I have my front desk reception area. It's a nice spacious area. And there are three big panes of glass and windows that overlook the parking lot. And even on a non-sunny day, I still have enough ambient natural light coming in. I've done many videos at the front of my reception area with just natural lighting. So if you're filming during the day, sit in front of a window if you have access to a window either at home or in your office. That will give you a nice, soft, even lighting that works really well and, of course, is no cost. It's absolutely free to use. Now, it's important to make sure the window is not behind you. You need to have the window and then the camera, and then you're in front of the camera. So the window is in the front, giving you that nice, bright light coming in. Otherwise, it will throw off the lighting and then it'll throw your face into that darkness, which you don't want. Now, you can also use ring lights, and I have a ring light and I've recommended it again to many, many clients. It's a ring light. I prefer a larger one, about 18 inches. You can get them for about $50-$60. Amazon's a great place to get them, maybe up to $80. And they come with a tripod already and a phone holder so you can hold your phone. It's really, really great. It's portable, it's reliable, and it creates a nice even glow across your face. So I like it because it also doesn't use up a lot of space. And of course, you can carry it with you to different locations if you use different locations in a nice carrying bag. So it is a great way to use lighting. I'll tell you one of the things that I use is I use a shop light. I've used a shop light for many, many years. I was at Costco and I saw these shop lights there. I bought 3 of them and they work great. I hang them on my walls above me and they're both, I think I pay like $35 or $40 for each. And I have a few of those that I can use in different locations in my filming spot. Other things you can use is a softbox or LED panels. The problem with this is they get a bit too big and you have to store them, but they're really great. Of course, you're going to spend a bit more on these softboxes. They're very professional and they do spread the light out more naturally, so you can eliminate a lot of those harsh shadows. The price may range anywhere from $100 to $300 for a good set. Now, here's a pro tip, and I learned this from my friend Dan, the professional photographer. You want to make sure the light is above you, above your head, not below you. And I've done that mistake many times, and he's also criticized those videos. Oftentimes at the beginning, I was sacrificing quality for quantity. I just want to get my videos out, and that works. You don't have to be perfect, but at some level, at some point, you want to have a certain amount of professionalism in your work. Place the light above your head, and what this does is it shines over you and it mimics that natural daylight, and it really avoids that flashlight look under the chin effect. The bottom line is this: if you're not appearing visible on your video, if your face isn't clearly visible because of poor lighting, the viewer will see that. They'll pick it up, and subconsciously they'll begin to feel distant from you. And the worst thing that can happen on your YouTube video and channel is that they bounce off the video. They click off the video. That's very bad signals and will not give you any growth on your YouTube channel. So clear, bright lighting does make a difference, and it makes you look more open and approachable and credible even before you even open your mouth to say the first word. So number 2, framing. I talk a lot about this with my VidConcierge clients. And as you know, if you've been following me for a while, I have an agency where we do done-for-you YouTube for health professionals like chiropractors and functional medicine docs and physiotherapists and other health professionals. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see is that they're poorly positioned in their video, their frame. So we'll talk a little bit about that and how to fix this. What I'm talking about framing is how you appear in the shot. And this is where a lot of health professionals get this wrong. The first place is the headroom. And a very common mistake, and I always put this in my email notes when I'm giving the instructions from the first videos that we're working together with our clients, is to make sure that there's some headroom above you, but not too much. So you don't want your head to appear like halfway down the video, and there's this big gap between the top of your head and the top of the video frame. So too much space above your head makes you look way too small in the video. And then even when we start editing that, there's little to work with. So we need to have you a bit more center. And also, having just a little bit of cut off at the top of your head doesn't look good either. The rule is 2/3, okay? 2/3. So position your eyes about 1/3 on the way down from the top of the frame. So have just a bit of space from the top of your head to the top of the frame. That's super important. And of course, you have to see how to position your camera, your tripod. Some of my clients use a webcam. That gives a problem because depending on where their desktop or laptop is, there's very little room that you can move because it's not on a tripod. So their framing becomes very poor. So we have to make adjustments in editing. How do you position your headroom is super important. The next part in framing is body position. And this is also very important. You want to appear at least waistline up. That's what I tell my clients, at least waistline up. Not just chest up, not just a headshot that's too close. And you don't have to be too far where your whole body's in the shot. Also, I think that doesn't work very well either. But waistline up gives us enough room to see you. Also in editing, you can do zoom cuts in and out. That works really well. And also it gives you enough room to use your arms for hand gestures without crowding the frame or even hiding your arm gestures if there's not enough positioning. So body position matters as well. And the next part under framing is background. Again, this is another one that I've realized myself, and I also talk to my clients about, is you need to have a nice background. So a messy or distracting background will pull away attention from the message and also look very unprofessional. You don't need a fancy studio. I've experimented with different things like curtains and lighting. Again, that's not necessary, but do keep it tidy, do keep it uncluttered. Sometimes having a bookshelf behind or a nice plant, or sometimes I show my diplomas on the back wall, or some anatomy posters, different chiropractic posters that I use in the office are behind the wall. That looks really great. And another thing with background too, I tell my clients a lot about this, is you don't have to stand right up against the wall. I don't think that's really good. And when we've changed the position of that with our clients, we've seen that our views have gone up. So I tell my clients to have some depth behind them, show a bit of their office behind them, waistline up, even thigh line up, and then they see some depth behind them, and then we can take care of a lot of that through the editing. So the background does matter. Under framing, you have headroom, body position, and background that you need to pay attention to. And the next one under framing is camera angle. Now, camera angle is very important, and we did talk about this in previous episodes. You want to place the camera in such a way where the lens is at eye level. So looking down is not good, looking down at the camera, because you appear a bit more dominating to the audience, to the viewer. Looking up gives you a sense of coming across more unsure, lacking authority, maybe even credibility. So you want to be level with the camera lens. This is very important. And the problem comes when you have a teleprompter or you're reading off a script, the paper. And because you want to read off the paper or the teleprompter, maybe your eyes are not on the lens. And that can be obviously not good. And sometimes I believe it can lose retention in the video. So you need to find a way to use the teleprompter in such a way where you're as center as possible, reading the words, and your eyes are centered with the lens. And that adds a lot more level of professionalism on your video. So with this, here's your pro tip. So you want to use a tripod or a stand, very important. In the beginning, I used to balance my phone on yoga blocks and books and on shelves. That works at the beginning, but eventually you want to have a tripod. And you can buy a tripod on Amazon for about $100, a really good quality tripod with an extender for video so you can get some height. So under framing, we have headroom, body position, background, and camera angle that we discussed. So when your framing is balanced, you look more composed, more intentional, and that communicates a tremendous amount of authority. The next one is number 3, what your face communicates, your facial expression. And again, this is another one that I really notice in my VidConcierge clients. If you're not used to making a lot of videos, this is the part that needs some work. I always tell my clients, you want to have enthusiasm, passion, and express your energy and be animated because it comes across on video. There's also a dulling effect on video. So if you talk slow, then it's going to appear even slower on video. If you talk fast, it gets notched down about 10 or 20%. So it's okay to be a bit more energetic. But your facial expression really matters. It's like you're telling a story with your expression, and people become engaged with that. And like I said, most professionals just underestimate the power in how they appear on camera, especially with their facial expression. So here are 3 things I want you to look at and focus on. Number 1 is eye contact. And again, we talked a little bit about this earlier. You want to be looking directly at the lens, not at yourself on the screen. I don't recommend using the front part of your smartphone camera. I use an iPhone. You can, but if you do, you want to be looking at the camera lens. I like to use the back camera. The video quality is really good. And like this, I'm not worried about not looking at myself on the screen, and I'm looking directly at the camera lens. Also, with eye contact, always remember that you're talking to one person. Think about talking to one person that's sitting just across from you. This creates a level of intimacy and makes your viewer feel like you're speaking to one person and to them only. Number 2 in this part is facial expression. A blank face can make you seem really cold or disengaged. So be careful with them. But then too much forced expression or too much forced smiling can also appear fake. In my opinion, just be natural, but add some expression. You want to be calm, natural, smile, and occasionally change your facial expression, especially to match the tone of your message. Raising your eyebrows to emphasize a point, softening your expression when you're explaining something serious. And if you're animated or angry about something, of course, express that. Nothing wrong with that. Facial expressions work really well. And then number 3 under this section of what your face communicates is your energy and warmth. Again, this is what I've already talked about this. Your camera does flatten the energy quite a bit. I think about 10 or 20%. And what feels like too much in terms of facial expression and also tone and also volume and speed, it really, in real life, it often looks like just right on the camera. Don't be afraid to just dial it up a bit with your tone, your voice, the volume, and also your expression, okay? Okay, here's some pro tips before we wrap this up. So practice recording yourself for 60 seconds. The more you practice, the better you get at this. And talk about something simple that you're familiar with. And then watch the playback with the sound off. And we've done this exercise many times in different techniques. Do you look warm, credible, trustworthy? Or do you look stiff, tired, and disengaged? Okay, you'll be surprised. And of course, that's all learnable and you can make it better and better. And of course, you can adjust accordingly. Also, relax your forehead and jaw before recording. Release the tension. Tension does show up on camera. Take a few deep breaths. I've done that many times. Take a few deep breaths and then gently do some maybe facial movements or facial stretches. They can really make a difference to relax that facial tension. And number 3, remember micro expressions. So you want to be energetic and have some expressions, but tiny flickers of discomfort or disinterest, they do get magnified on camera. So you need to have expression. Being present, breathing steadily, speaking with conviction, minimizes all that. If you go back to any one of the episodes I've talked about so far, we covered all of this: breathing, how to be present, how to be a communicator on camera and not sound clinical. We talked a lot about this in this podcast. And that's why I made this podcast, is because health professionals are great at what they do in the clinic, in their office, in their centers. But when it comes to filming, they just haven't done enough of it to really be professional at it. And I know where I started off, I was not very good at it. I was very bad. And it took me hundreds of videos to begin to become comfortable and eventually get it pretty decent to the point now that I can turn on my camera and just start talking and do all these techniques. But I created this podcast for you and for other health professionals that need some reminders and some help on how to increase the level of professionalism so you look like the trusted authority that you are in your office, but appearing on camera. Okay, so here are your action steps. Remember, always in this VidConcierge podcast, I'm going to give you action steps. I want you to practice these things. Now, before you record your next video, run through the 3-point checklist. Lighting. Is your face evenly lit? Do you have a window or natural light that you can use? Do some test videos, right? Can the viewer or can you clearly see your eyes and face on the video? Number 2, framing. Are your eyes in the top third of the frame with a clean background, and is your camera at eye level, the camera lens? And number 3, facial expressions. Do you look approachable, comfortable, natural, confident? Those are the things I want you to look at on top of the pro tips that we talked about earlier. By applying these action steps and these pro tips from this episode, you will instantly see that you become more polished and trustworthy on camera, and you appear way more professional, and you begin to be even more comfortable as you film more and more videos. And again, you don't need an expensive studio to do any of this. It really is just a few things you can do differently, like we talked about in this episode, that can make a massive difference. Okay, so what's coming up in the next episode? I always like to give you a kind of a foreshadow of what's coming up, so it keeps you coming back to the VidConcierge podcast. And we're going to dive into what to wear on camera. Okay, I'm going to share how clothing choices really help shape perception, what colors work best, what I do. Okay, I'll tell you what I do, even though I've been criticized many times on what I'm wearing, the colors, but I'll tell you why I do that. And then why the wrong outfit can distract from your authority. So thanks again for listening. As always, I appreciate you for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode. That's it for today's episode of the VidConcierge Show. Always remember, how you show up on camera shapes how people see you. So keep practicing, keep showing up, and keep leaning into the role as the trusted expert. If you got value from this episode, take a moment to rate it, review it, and subscribe. It really helps the show grow. And if you want a free audit of your YouTube channel, that's by me, head over to www.valtoriamedia.com/audit. Your personalized channel audit will show you what's working on your channel, what's missing, and what to fix next, so you get more visibility and authority with your videos. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time on the VidConcierge Show.